Hey, this is Liz from Her DIY Dream Home. Thanks for joining me on this next episode. This is the first of 3 episodes on my shed build. I decided to break it up into 3 episodes because they were getting kind of long and I did a lot of work. First I want to talk about why I'm building a shed. As you may have seen on previous episodes, I purchased land and started doing some property development, put in the did some groundwork, electrical and water. Before I actually start building though, I need to take care of some housekeeping stuff. Before I built my shed, all of my stuff was actually in a storage unit and I was paying $150 a month to store my stuff. $150 a month and for 2 years is a lot of money, so I really didn't want to pay that. Second, I felt like I needed some storage on the property because I have a lot of tools for building my house, and rather than schlepping them back and forth from where I'm living with me every day, it would be much easier just to put them in the storage unit, have it locked up, and that way I can just access anything I need, so I don't have to run home if I forget, my chop saw or something. So I decided to get a shed. But initially I looked at purchasing a shed, looking online at Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. I looked on Costco's website for a lifetime shed, and then also looked things at Tough Sheds at Home Depot and the actual local Tough Shed store. But the Tough Sheds were very expensive. I couldn't find a shed online that was affordable and also I needed to figure out a way to move it, which I didn't have access to a trailer or anything. And then the sheds online, like Costco, the lifetime sheds, they were unfortunately sold out. So I figured the best solution is to just go ahead and build one. So this first episode is about me building the base for the shed, and here we go. So the first thing I did was I went down to my local hardware supply store and bought 3 4x6x16 pressure treat ground contact beams to rest the shed on. I went that way because I was gonna move the shed in the future and I needed a solid base to kind of hold it. So the first thing I did, because I am going to move it, is I went ahead and cut a 45-degree angle on each end of the beams. I have 3 of these 4x6s. So I went ahead and cut a 45-degree angle. That way in the future it could be dragged. And then after that, I went ahead and added the supports. I did 2x4x8s on 24-inch centers. I decided to build a 8x16 foot shed, if that's not obvious already. I laid the 2x4s on their sides rather than on their tops for a better connection. I wanted to make sure I was connecting really well to those 4x8s. I know that that's not the way to do it, that you needed to lay them on the top, but like I said, I wanted that nice connection to it. And then I added some blocking on the edges and on the center beams to make more connections to the base. I of course glued and screwed all of that down for extra security. And the next step was to start the subfloor. Since I was doing a 8x16, I didn't actually have to cut any of the wood, which was super easy. I just went ahead, laid it down to my base. That was pretty easy. I whacked it in place. I forgot to bring a hammer, so I went ahead and used my nail gun and a extra piece of PVC pipe from the electrical that I happen to have, and I just whacked the tongue and groove into place before I nailed it down securely. So I do have to confess something. When I was laying the 4x6s on the ground, I had measured everything. I had spaced everything out, which I thought was correctly, but once I started laying the sheets of plywood on top, it became very clear that I was a little bit out of square. So by this time, everything had been glued and screwed down, and it would have been a nightmare to just adjust it a little bit. So I went ahead, got a chalk line, snapped chalk line, and then cut off the little corners that were askew on the decking. If I was to do this again, I definitely would have taken more time, but I was working on this 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch minus rock with these huge beams, and Caleb was thankfully there to help me unload them and kind of place them, but I thought I was good and I wasn't. Overall, it was fine. It's just that later in the third episode, when I start doing the roofing, the skew comes into effect again, and we'll go over what I did to cover that then. Luckily, this is just a storage shed. It's not my house, and I will be, double checking, making sure everything is square when I do that. This is, like I said, this is just a storage shed for now to keep my stuff in it. And I am just thinking of it as a learning opportunity. Double check for square. So that's it for this episode. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on her DIY dream home. Thanks for watching.